Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do like a pseudo vlog of Prague because when I was there I was not in a greatest place, so I was not in the mood to vlog, but I still wanted to like make a video about Prague because like I've been just traveling and like I just wanna like show you my trip. I love to record things, but sometimes it's hard to talk because I am dealing with other stuff. I recorded some videos from like the views and the places I visited when I was there, so I'm like doing a voice off and also like doing a Q&A on traveling, like solo traveling, because that's what I've been doing here. I've been in Hamburg and in Prague, and I have some more planned as a solo travel. I have also others with friends, but mainly I'm just going to places alone. It's not my first time traveling solo, as in I've traveled solo just on the plane, and then I met someone at the place. When I was 16, I did that to Austria. I wasn't 16, I was more, but I was like 17. I knew I was underage because when I was booking the flights, I had to go to an agency. And I also, like, when I went to Miami, I went alone. I just went to study there for 3 weeks and I went alone. Then I met people there, but that's what you usually do when you go travel alone. Like, even though you can meet people and hang out with people there, it counts as solo traveling because you don't know like anyone. I left a question box on Instagram for you to ask like curiosities or like doubts or things you want to know about like solo traveling tips. I don't know, so I'm going to mix that with Prague. I usually plan my trips the way I mentioned once in an episode of my podcast. I did like an entire episode explaining all the process on how I plan my trips, because like it's a methodic process that I like religiously do every time I plan a trip. No matter if I'm alone or if I'm going with people, it always works out. It doesn't take too long, as long as you just get in the rhythm and you get the process and the steps. It's so easy. If you want to go in more details, you can listen to that one. Mention it was a rough week. It was my roughest week this year, and I didn't have time to plan the trip because I was like, okay, I'll just plan like a couple of days before because it's just a one-day trip to Prague. So I just have like less than 24 hours to see all the things, so it's not going to be like, oh, I have to plan the hotel and then like transport and all of that. No, it was like quite easy planning, so that's why I left it like, okay, I was going on a Saturday, so Monday, Tuesday I'll start planning. But then Monday arrived and Monday was shitty, so I didn't have planned anything. And also on Tuesday I went to Hamburg, so I had to plan Hamburg in a rush too. So then when I went to Prague, I only had Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, and I was not in here, I was in Portugal, and I didn't plan anything mostly. So like when I arrived here in Berlin again, and also the flight was delayed, so it was crazy. Basically, Prague is a really small town. Like, you can visit Prague as I did in 24 hours. Like, there's plenty of time. I booked like the bus. I usually go on Flixbus. I love Flixbus now. Also here there are Flix trains. You can take a train, but it's not expensive for a train, but it's like 10 or 20 euros more expensive than the bus. But Flixbus is perfect. It has like usually 2 floors, so it's not usually like crowded with people. We departed at 3 a.m. and it took us 5 hours and a half or something. So like it's not crazy if you think you are going to another country, like. And if you were going to Poland, like in the border is even closer to Berlin than like Prague. But I've been in Poland and I literally did a road trip there, so I'm not thinking on spending my money in a country that I already visit so many places. I arrived in Prague at like 8 a.m. 9 a.m. I don't know. It was perfect. Then my mobile data wasn't working, and like I'm in a new place. I need my GPS, I need my maps, like my iPhone maps all the time. Like, even though I have a list of the places I want to go, I don't know where they are, you know. I basically just waste all my battery during these trips. I have to bring like my power bank every time because I'm like constantly looking on the map. So yeah, I was like, yeah, I have to figure this out because I cannot just ramble around and like I'm just staying for one day. I cannot like waste time, and like I didn't know how big was the city because sometimes you plan a lot of things and you can just do like half of it, which was not the case, but I didn't know that beforehand. So I was like, okay, let's call my dad because my dad, technology wise, is my savior. Basically Prague, I could visit like the entire city. It's like divided by the river and you can easily go from one of the sides to the other, and it's like so close. I didn't take any transport. What I decided was, okay, I'm going to stay in one of the side during the entire morning, and then I'm going on the other side in the afternoon, and I just stay there until I have to catch the bus on the other side of the town. But like fine, still fine. And the bus was like at 8, so I had a lot of time. Usually I don't book the bus to come at like 11 or something because when the sun goes down, I'm not comfortable just visiting the cities. I went in one of the sites in the morning and I visited the Zizkov TV tower. Like, I'm going to put a list, of course, because me pronouncing Czech names, don't, like, not even try. Vencela Square. This is on the one side of the river, okay? This was my morning. Dancing House, National Theatre, the Powder Tower, Obscenidum, the St. James Basilic, the Old Town Square, Orloj, the Spanish Synagogue, the Jewish Cemetery, and then Josefov, and then you can see there's Charles Bridge. So Charles Bridge is like the bridge that goes into the other side, and it's like there are a lot of bridges, but this one is the main one, like the most historical. There are a bunch of people that, like, when I was visiting Prague, I started on the Zizkov TV tower and like there was no one, so I was like, oh my god, there's no one visiting this city, like why am I here alone? And Zizkov tower is like in a hill, so then you come down, you go into a park. It was so full. I was like, oh, perfect. And then you come down into Old Town Square and like where the main things are, and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing more people, but still it's like not Berlin, or it's not like Berlin in Alexanderplatz on a Saturday, or it's like not London or something. That was until I went to Charles Bridge. Charles Bridge was so crowded, I couldn't move, and I was like alone. I didn't have to wait for anyone. I was like, I just want to go to the other side, just let me, please. So I don't know, like just people visit the Charles Bridge and that's it. Usually on these trips the main concept is low cost. This is how I do, and I bring my food. Like I bought a backpack that I showed you in a vlog, last vlog that I posted on YouTube. I showed you my backpack and it was nice. It was only 20 euros. It was so cheap. Then I went into the other side, like of the river through Charles Bridge, and I just sat near the river and eating and reading, and it was, I could cry. Like if it was cold, so then I started feeling cold, but it was so perfect. It, like, I could cry. And then I visited the Petrin Hill, the Prague Castle. Yeah, Petrin Hill, guys, this is a hill. I was almost like, if there weren't like a group of people in front of me just like going, like climbing the hill, I would give up because I didn't knew like what was the way to get into the main like thing over in the top. So I was just lost, and I was like, I better just go down because I don't even know where I'm going. But then there was like a group of people, and I was like, just follow them, and I was like, oh, okay. Then Saint Vito Cathedral, Malastrana, and Lennon Wall. Lennon Wall is a wall dedicated to John Lennon. Like Berlin Wall, it doesn't like anything to do with Berlin Wall, but like it's a wall painted. Okay, and now, I don't know, just some questions because I've been talking for so long. If I prefer like traveling with other people or alone, I can just do what I want, basically. Like I plan my trip, and for example, on the lunch break, I can just sit by the river reading. If I was with other people, probably I won't do that. Or like, I just want to buy my lunch at the supermarket, or I just want to bring my food. If you are with other people, it's like, probably sometimes they are going to prefer like just going into a restaurant and try food, or like, and sometimes I'm not feeling like to spend money. So in that case, I love traveling alone because I can just control what I spend or like what I do alone. Sometimes I see something or I want to make a comment on a monument or someone I saw, and I'm just like, I have no one to talk to. So I just think to myself. Or sometimes I call people, when I'm doing these solo trips, because I'm like, okay, let me just call someone, because I'm always wearing my AirPods or like some, headset, and I'm just listening to podcasts or music like all the time because I'm alone. So I'm just entertained. So sometimes I call people just to feel like I talk during the day. And also, since I like to take pictures of myself, that's a challenge when I'm traveling alone, because like you have to figure out how you're going to do. Sometimes there are buildings that you can just leave it on the window and go back and put on the timer, but the one that I took in Prague, I just put it on my backpack in the floor when I was seated near the river, because I saw there was a building that I like the facade of it. In these cases, you can't care about what other people feel or think, because if you do, like, forget, you are not going to take any pictures of you, because these are touristic places. Unless you go to a known part, and probably you are not going to find those beautiful buildings, you have to deal with that. I don't care. I usually just get mad because people are there and they know I'm taking pictures and they just stare. Do you feel safe? I think I went through this. Like, usually I don't like to walk in the cities at night, but that's also like in Berlin. I love walking at night. I love nighttime when I'm not inside the house. Like when I'm walking, for example, when I was going to a party or to a friend's house and I was walking from my home to catch transport or something, even in Portugal, I loved it. I thought it was like so, I don't know, so inspiring. But I don't like to walk, as in safety reasons. So I felt safe. I think it was the safest place I've been in Europe. There were police in the streets, like some police, but I didn't see any homeless people. Like, I don't know if that's an effect of like living here in Berlin now, because like there are homeless people in every corner. Like, I don't know, what is it? I think it's like a lifestyle here. It's not even like just because they're poor, they want to be poor. But like in Prague, it was perfect. Also, when I went to Hamburg, another German city, there were so many homeless people. And it makes me like kind of comfortable, there. It was so perfect. Like, I've never felt so safe. Like, if I could recommend a city in the entire Europe, from the ones I went, Prague was the most perfect one. Probably more safe than in Portugal even. So, was it cheap? As I said, like, it was cheap, and my trips have been cheap because I try to do things that make the trip low cost, you know, like I don't buy food in restaurants, or like I don't spend money on souvenirs or like other museum stuff, or I don't go by plane, which sometimes it's cheaper if you go on Ryanair. So I always look into all the options. But yes, they've been cheap, but I don't like go to a brunch or like breakfast out or dinner out. So that's why they were cheap. Like I just go during the day, so I don't have to book accommodation there, because then it will make it more expensive. And this way I can visit so many more places. Like I can do 2 or 3 trips a month. And if I would just go into a place for 3 days with hotel or like hostel or like Airbnb, whatever, but like with accommodation, food, tickets, I could just do it like once a month or like once every 2 months, because it gets really, really expensive. Was it your first time? Okay, I already talked about this. Don't you get lonely? You know, like guys, I'm a single child. I'm an only child. Not single though. No, I don't get lonely. As I said, like it's only for 24 hours. I think if it was like for 3 days, and if I wouldn't meet any friends like I did in Miami because I was in a school, but like if I wasn't meeting anyone, probably I would get lonely, you know. But like just for a day, it's okay for me. It's okay. It's like a Sunday at home. Why didn't you go with friends? I don't have a lot of friends here, and we don't have the same jobs, we don't have the same things, like, so I don't have the same schedule as they have. So for example, I'm totally free on weekends and some of them aren't, and then during the week I'm totally busy. It's not that I messaged someone if they wanted to come with me and they said no or something. I didn't tell them, and like I don't mind, you know, like I'm not trying to do this with friends, but then I just probably no, I just book the trips for myself because I want to do that. Like as I said, I'm also going on trips with friends, so I think there's a time to do everything. I think that was it. Like I've been talking for so long, this is almost like a podcast, what the fuck. Thank you guys for watching the video. I'm going to upload more videos every week and also more travel vlogs and all of that. I hope you liked it. If you are considering visiting Prague, you can always message me and I can send you tips or something. And also about like solo traveling, even though this was like a Q&A, you can always ask me questions on Instagram or here, I don't mind. And we'll see how the next trips go and my life here. Thank you again for watching my videos, and if you want to follow me on Instagram, feel free. Also my podcast that goes out every week. Thank you again, and we'll see each other next week. Bye.